Okay, this tutorial we're going to be working with strings. Now in the last tutorial we went over variables, and strings were one of the data types that variables can hold. Now remember, to create a string all you need is a variable equals and then your string within quotation marks. You can have either double quotes or single quotes. As you can see here, I've created a string called myString with the string value of computer. So if I output that, you can see that you have computer. Now the way Python handles strings, it actually creates these positions within memory, and each position has an index. So this computer is an 8-letter string, and the index, all indexes start at 0, so the index will be from 0 to 7. So 0 to 7 means there's 8 characters, 0 being the first character and 7 being the last character. So if we wanted to output the first character of a string, we would use this notation right here. So I have here myString square brackets 0. So if I execute this, you can see it returns the first character of that string. If we wanted the last character of the string, remember it's an 8 character string and the last position is 7. So if we wanted the last character of that string, we would say myString square brackets 7. You can see it outputs the last character of that string. If we didn't know the length of the string, we could use this notation here. We could use the value of -1. -1 would also return the last character of the string without you having to know the length of a string, if you wanted to find out the length of the string, all you have to do is use the length len function, so len function. So len parentheses and then your variable. You can see here that my string, which is computer, is an 8-character string. And remember that strings start at index 0, so the first character is 0 and the last character is 7 in an 8-character string. Another useful thing that you can do in Python is slice notation. Slice notation is a way to get substrings, so strings within a string. So if you have a phrase and you don't want all the words in the phrase, you just want a certain section of that string, you would use slice notation. Now the way slice notation works is, is very similar to the way we did single characters. You use the square bracket, but the difference is you have now 2 values separated by a colon. So your first value would be the starting position, and your last value would be your ending before position. So up to this value, but do not include this value, in other words, or last position plus 1 is another way to think of it, right? So here I'm going to create a string with the phrase, the quick brown fox. Now in memory or within Python, it would create an 18-character string, right? Because remember, spaces are also indexed, are also considered characters within that string. So in here, position 0 is T from the, and position 18 is X from X. So if we wanted the first 3 characters of this string, so from position 0 up to but not including position 3, so position 0, 1, and 2, we would use the slice notation myString square brackets 0 colon 3. So start at 0 but include everything up until before 3. So 0, 1, 2. So you can see here, up until but before 3. So position 3 non-inclusive, so which would be the last position plus 1. If we wanted to, let's say, get the character starting at position 10 here, right? Starting at position 10, we would say the starting point of your slice would be 10. So in here, it would start with 10, so you would expect it to return brown fox. And as you can see, starting in position 10, it returns brown fox. If you wanted everything up until before position 10, so from 0 to 9, you would use the notation like this. So you would leave the first position blank, and you would leave the second position as 10. So up to but not including position 10. You can see here that it returns the quick, including the space after the quick. Right, so that's one very useful way, and it's a very common thing to do. Let's say you have some type of ID or some type of description, and you just want a product identifier of some type. You would use slice notation. So remember, the slice notation is your variable, square bracket, the starting position, and the ending before position, or the last position plus 1. So remember that the last position is not included. Another useful thing you could do in strings is concatenation. So you want to combine two strings. So here I have two strings, greeting being hello, and name equals John. So if I wanted to output hello John, all I would have to do is add them, greeting plus name. So greeting being hello with a space, and a name being John. So hello John. So concatenating strings in Python is very simple. All you need is the plus sign. Another useful thing within Python is if you want to see if a character contains, if a string contains a specific character, you would use the in keyword. So here I have this random string, A43, B23, C83, and I want to see if B exists in this string. So all I would say is B in your variable name. So, and it would return true if it exists. So B obviously is in this string, true if it exists, and false if it doesn't. So let's say another one, right? I want to see if 23C is in this string, and it is, right? You can see 23C is in the string. And if I put a character that's not in the string, I would say Z in sample, and it would return false if it doesn't exist in the string. So that's another very useful function, or keyword actually. Another thing you can do in Python is make all of the characters in your string uppercase. So to make all of the characters in your string uppercase, you would use the upper function here. So in here you can see I have the string to be or not to be all in lowercase, and I want to make it uppercase, right? So I used my string dot upper, and you can see it returns the uppercase. If I wanted to make all of the characters in my string lowercase, a very similar thing, right? Here I have an uppercase string, and I want to make it lower. All you do is dot lower, and it will make all of the characters in your string lower. If I wanted to capitalize the first letter of my string, I would use the capitalize function. So in here I have whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer, and I want to capitalize the very first letter. The capitalize function will capitalize the first letter of a string. So kind of like in a sentence, the first letter of the string. If you want to use title case, so title case will uppercase only the first letters of every word in the string. So it will only uppercase the first letter. Let me just say print. What did I do here? Title. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I messed that one up. But all you have to do is it's the title function. Title function. So the title function will uppercase the first letter of every word in your string. So it's similar to a title in a book. Another thing that's common in strings is you want to check if your string is a number. So is numeric is the way to do that. So there is numeric function. So here I have a string, and it's all numeric, right? It's all numbers, and I'm testing whether that string is numeric. And here you can see that it is, so we'll return true. If it wasn't, right, here's a string with a mix of letters and numbers, so I'm checking if it is numeric, and you can see that it is false. Another thing that you commonly do in strings is what's called ZFill. So let's say you have an identifier, an ID, and your ID has to be 8 digits long, but you have IDs of 101, right? So you need to pad it with 5 characters. So let's say here you have you require an 8-digit character, an 8-digit string, but you only have 5 digits. You can see here that by using the ZFill, it now pads this number or this string with 3 zeros, right? And I have another one here with 3 characters, and now I have it padded with 5 zeros. So ZFill will pad your string so that it always fits a certain length, which is very useful when you're working with IDs or required types that require a certain length. So try all of those out. These are very useful, and there's a lot of stuff in this chapter. So try out creating a string, getting the first and last letters or even the middle letters of a string, getting the length of a string, using slice notation to get substrings. So try these out, get used to the syntax. Remember that it's the starting point and the ending before position. So the non-inclusive end, or the end plus 1 is another way to think of it. We also learned how to concatenate strings. Practice concatenating strings, practice checking if a string contains a character or letter using the in keyword, practice making strings uppercase, making strings lowercase, capitalizing the first letter of the string, using title case, checking if a string is numeric or not numeric, and padding a string. These are all very common things you do in programming, in Python, and also in Pandas. So practice, and as usual, there are text instructions at the end of this chapter.